have your total war in front of you. I'm going to read through it. I need you to follow the text. Whilst you're reading it, you can always make a note of any words that you don't understand, and then we can go through it at the end. Okay, so, total war. Britain joined World War II in September 1939, when it declared war on Germany. France, Belgium, the Netherlands, Poland and other countries fought with Britain against Germany and later against Italy. In 1941, the USSR and the USA joined the war on the same side as Britain. Japan joined the side of Germany and Italy. This spread the fighting right around the world. The war finally ended in 1945. World War II took place on land, at sea and in the air. Bombs dropped by enemy aircraft during air raids destroyed millions of homes and killed and injured many thousands of people. Everyone's home might be in the front line. This is why we say the war was fought on the home front, as well as the battlefront. World War II was a total war. This means that the warring countries did everything they could to win. Every person, every factory and every field was needed for the war effort. The manufacture of non-essential foods and goods, such as chocolate and fine clothes, was cut back and they became very difficult to obtain. In 1939, 2/3 of Britain's food and many of industry's raw materials, so oil and aluminium for example, came from abroad. The enemy sank thousands of ships bringing their supplies to Britain, which led to severe shortages. The government coped with these problems in two ways. First, it encouraged more food and raw materials to be produced at home. Second, it cut back on the food and goods people could buy. The most important way of doing this was by rationing. Then you can see there's a section underneath here. And in there it says, luxuries were very difficult to obtain during the war. On the 16th of October 1940, the Daily Herald listed a whole range of items that its readers would probably have to do without. So, luxuries you must now do without. And it says it includes gloves, laces, furs, mattresses, corsets, carpets, lino, pottery, glass, office furniture, cutlery, cameras, musical instruments, sports, goods, toys, fancy goods, fountain pens and umbrellas. Then to the right, there's a box and it says the path to war. Adolf Hitler became leader of Germany in 1933, backed by his Nazi party. He removed those who were against him and began taking over neighbouring countries. After Germany took over Czechoslovakia, Britain and France promised other countries that they would oppose Nazi aggression if the Germans attacked anyone else. On the 1st of September 1939, Hitler invaded Poland. 2 days later, Britain and France declared war on Germany. You then have a picture at the bottom, and there's a caption here saying, "The land you are fighting for." This government poster was not very realistic or popular. Most Britons lived in towns and cities and rarely saw the countryside like this. Then over here we have a photograph, and there's a caption with "The newspaper seller carries a poster telling passers-by of the outbreak of war, 3rd of September 1939. And down the left-hand side, we have a timeline. So we read through the timeline. So we've got 1939, September, war begins. Petrol rationing begins. 1940, January, food rationing begins. September 1940, London Blitz begins. And in 1941, in June, clothes rationing begins. And in December, USA joins the war. Then in 1942, in July, we have austerity regulations introduced, so sweets and things were rationed to 2 ounces, that's 50 grams per person per week. Then in 1943, in the May, Britain and USA get the upper hand in the Battle of the Atlantic. June, special children's clothes rations introduced. 1945, May, the war ends in Europe, and in 1954, meat, which was the last item still to be rationed, became freely available again. Okay. Are there any words, before we go on any further, are there any words you don't understand? Is there anything you think, oh, I'm not quite sure about that? or anything in any sentences, any context. Was he quite happy? Emily?
What was the blitz?
The blitz is which we'll carry on, is when we had, the blackout and all the bombs were dropping, like our major cities, which we will then look at further on. Okay, but that's what it was. And it's where we had, you'd already looked at like blackout, hadn't you? And the windows, and they put the tape on the windows. And we were doing like Anderson shelters, New Morrison shelters to keep you safe. And that's where we had the big bombing raids on all our large cities. Okay? So that's why children were evacuated, weren't they? Out into the countryside, into villages. Right, I've got some quick fire questions. Okay. Can you tell me what things were listed as luxuries? What would have been luxuries that you couldn't then have? Leo?
Gloves.
Gloves. Okay, what else? Summer?
Carpets.
Okay.
Mattresses. Fancy goods. Toys.
Okay, and we can see them, because you can see them, they're all in that section, can't you? So if you want to find out some more, they're all in there. Okay, next question. In which month and year did clothes rationing begin? Where would you find that on there? It's on there somewhere. Where would you find it? What is the answer?
1941 in July.
Okay, and where did you find that?
In the time.
Okay, so you looked in the timeline, didn't you? Scanned the timeline and found it there. So then, which was the last item to still be rationed, and when did this cease?
Well, the last item was to be rationed in 1954. It's freely available again.
Okay, and what was the item? What was meat? Meat was rationed. Okay, so that's your quick fire questions. Now, what I want you to do is, I want you to look at the text in front of you. I want you to look at the structure of the text. And we're just going to go over why some of the information is boxed, how the timeline maybe helps you, why the poster and the picture, how do they help you? What do you think? Why do you think they're there? What does it do? Do we know? Okay. Why does the timeline help you? What does it do?
Tells you the dates.
Tells you the dates. What else does it do?
Tells you what happened when.
Yes, it's giving us the dates. Something's happened then. Also, it's quick and easy, isn't it? It's really quick and easy. You can just scan down it. Is it in date order? Yeah? So you can see exactly what's happening and when it's happening. What about then, you've got a picture on there, you've got a photo, and then you've got a poster. What does that tell you? And how do you know that? What is on there? What is next to that picture and that poster that tells you?
Is it a bit of information?
Bit of information, but what do we call that bit of information? Begins with a C. It's a caption, isn't it? It's a caption, so it's telling us, it's capturing that and telling us what that's about. Okay. What about the text in the boxes? The text in the boxes, which you may not be able to see on there, are things like the path to war, luxuries you must do without. Why do you think they're in boxes? Why do you think?
Because they're not fully related to them, they're just a bit extra information.
Yeah, it's adding information. What about the structure then? What do we think about the structure? How is it laid out?
Like telling you like basics of war than going into writing in more detail.
Yeah, so what's the first paragraph telling us? What would we call that?
Introduction.
It's an introduction, isn't it? It's an introduction, it's giving us an overview. So you now know, the reader now knows what they're going to be reading. Then how is it laid out? Is it one really long paragraph? How is it laid out?
It's laid out in like, oh, I've forgotten again.
It's okay, that's fine.
It's laid out in paragraphs and they're linking to the kind of.
Yeah. And in each paragraph, it's telling us some more information, and then it links on to the next paragraph, doesn't it? Okay? So, what you are going to be doing is, you are going to be using, you can choose, there are 3 different structure sheets. Yeah, little interrupter. There's 3 different structure sheets which are uploaded on Seesaw. And what you are going to do is you are going to then follow the instructions for your task, so your main task that are on Seesaw. Okay? And that's going to be looking at the captions for the photos and for the poster, the main body of the text, the timeline, okay, and the boxes that are on there. And you are going to use that information on your sheet and pull it over onto your planning sheet. Okay, any questions, queries, just ask and off